we're recording, so we'll call the meeting to order. The first order of business tonight is a public hearing, and that is on Ordinance 554, which is an ordinance and making sure Carroll Media Center is with us tonight, so they've started recording. But the first order of business tonight is the public hearing, which is the discussion of Ordinance 554, which is an ordinance concerning a general obligation bond for the water system centralization and modernization project, which we've heard about for about 10 council meetings in a row. All persons are reminded this session is being recorded on tape for the preservation of records, and you're asked when called upon to give your name, address, and interest in the matter before the council, which is, as I indicated, discussion of Ordinance 554. So I'm thinking it's not a hot topic, but if anybody has a comment they want to make on us borrowing money to do the engineering work in the amount of $3 million, which I'll get into in a little bit later on the ordinance, feel free. Going once, twice, 3 times, okay, like most of our public hearings. That's a good thing. We'll close the public hearing. We'll move on to the council meeting. Please rise for the opening prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance. So, dear Lord, we submit ourselves to you as your servants and the servants of the people of Hampstead who place their trust in us. Please allow every word that is spoken, every action taken to be in the best interest of Hampstead, and for everyone gathered here tonight to be a stabilizing influence in these unsettled times. Oh Lord, bless this meeting and our town. Amen. And also a moment of silence for Bob Tracy, who passed away over the weekend at 92 years old. Thank you. Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Jim, roll.
Mayor Nevin.
Here.
Councilmember Barrett.
Here.
Councilmember Painter.
Here.
Councilmember Thomas.
Here.
Councilmember Oglesby.
Here.
And Councilmember Zolman.
Here.
Thank you. Minute approvals from the council meeting on the 8th of October.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Jim, town manager's report. You've got to slow down.
All right, for the water system centralization and modernization project, our engineering team will be meeting with us this Friday, November 15th, to go over the 95% complete construction plans for the new water treatment plants. MDE personnel will also be attending this meeting to review the plans and to provide some financial guidance as we head into the contracts and the MDE approval of contractor phase. Later tonight, we ask the council's approval of the contract for pipeline construction inspection services. This will be the first of 6 contracts that will come to the council in the next 6 months pertaining to this water system project. There will also be a pipeline construction contract, a GAC and ion exchange equipment procurement contract, 2 water treatment plant construction contracts, and a water treatment plant construction inspection services contract. The way it works is once a contract is approved by this council, it then goes to MDE for their review and approval. We have to put together a bid package that goes with each contract, documenting that we made all the good faith efforts to ensure that we reached out to all disadvantaged business enterprises and MBE businesses, advising them of the project. Then, once a contract has MDE approval, it then has to be approved by the Board of Public Works. Once the BPW has approved it, we can then sign the contract with the contractor and issue them a notice to proceed. Normally, the time between this council's approval of a contract and the time we can issue the notice to proceed will be in the area of 4 months. It takes a long time to get it through the state.
And Board of Public Works is the governor, the controller, and the treasurer of the state of Maryland. They meet once a month.
Yeah.
So
that's where we stand, among many other things, with the water system project. Town's fall paving project has been completed. The roads paved in this project include Willow Street, Saxon Court, Upper Beckleyville Road, and East Alley. C.J. Miller did a great job on this project and completed it in about a week. They really moved once they started. This project also had eliminated the issue of the gravel building up at the corner of Main Street and Upper Beckley'sville Road.
Amen.
I know there are many people that appreciate that. The 2024 financial audit was completed and submitted to the state of Maryland. Electronic copies and booklets have been distributed as required. Also, the financial statements have been posted on the town's website. Cheryl is beginning to work on calendar year-end processing.
So if you have any, you should all please look at that. I don't know, it's like 55 pages. If you have any questions, let me know.
So we're getting to the holiday season, and that means many different things going on around town. One of which is the Carroll County Downtown Passport Program. It has begun, and it runs through December the 8th. Anyone can pick up a passport at any participating business. 27 town of Hampstead businesses are participating. To be included in the project, just purchase items from any 8 participating businesses throughout the county and get your passport stamped. Completed passports can be turned in at any Carroll County Public Library branch or any town hall by December 12th for the chance to win a gift certificate to any of the participating businesses. Also, Shop Small Saturday occurs on November 30th this year. This is a day that we encourage everyone to support our local small businesses by shopping and buying from them. Of course, we encourage people to do that every day in Hampstead. The tree lighting, one of the best nights of the year in many people's opinion. Hampstead's annual Christmas tree lighting will be held this year on Friday, November 22nd at War Memorial Park. The event kicks off at 6 p.m. with Cub Scout Pack 791 singing Christmas carols, followed by the Spring Garden Elementary Chorus, the Spring Garden Elementary Band, and the Manchester Valley High School Choral Group. They'll cap the evening. The Mayor and Santa will arrive by fire truck at 7 p.m. to turn on the lights. Children will be able to visit with Santa and have their picture taken. And of course, the Hampstead Farmers Market Christmas Market will be happening at the same time next door at St. John's Church. Additionally, Crossroads Church will also be holding a live nativity, as they do every year, next to the War Memorial in Matthews Tire Lot. And then Santa will be returning to the Santa House on December 6th, 7th, 13th, and 14th between the hours of 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. for children to visit and take photos. And then Candy Cane Lane.
Oh, wait a minute. Santa has a new suit. He's ready to go. I'm hearing you have a connection. Okay.
I heard
Just
Mrs.
checking.
Claus was busy over the all season, so on went up. So Candy Cane Lane on Main, Hampstead's annual Main Street Decorating Contest returns for a 5th season. The contest is open to all Main Street residences and businesses, with the best 2 residential displays and top 2 business displays receiving prizes. We encourage all Main Street properties to participate, as it really adds to the town's Christmas decorations. Decorations need to be up by December 13th, and you can call Town Hall to enter and get a Candy Cane Lane sign. You get that, you put it on your property, and that indicates you're in the contest. There are more details in the town newsletter that should start reaching homes next week. And just a reminder that, of course, town offices are closed for Thanksgiving on Thursday the 28th and Friday the 29th.
It's much too dark and dreary this time of year, so let's light it up.
Yep.
Then the Public Works Department, their elves are already busy at work, as we can see on Main Street. Any questions for Jim? Oversights, Diane?
We're just 10 days away from the Hampstead annual tree lighting and the farmers market, as Jim mentioned. The market will be held on Friday, November 22nd from 4 to 9 p.m. at St. John's Church. 16 vendors will be selling holiday crafts, treats, and gifts inside the church. And the It's All Good food truck will be in the parking lot. They had a very successful night during last year's tree lighting events and are thrilled to be back again this year. We've had a few changes to the market advisory team, which were discussed during our meeting on October 21st. Yvonne Schutz of Eye Candy Jewelry is stepping down as the vendor representative, but she will continue to be a vendor. Janice Campbell of Goose Ridge Soaps is joining the team to fill that role. Wayne Thomas Jr. will be stepping down as website administrator, and Jennifer Hobbs, who has already been serving the team for several years, has volunteered to take responsibility for that role. Lois Johnson is retiring as treasurer, so I will be assuming that role, as if I don't have enough accounting during my day job. So we would like to thank Yvonne, Wayne, and Lois for all of their years of service and welcome Janice as the newest member of the team. And last but certainly not least, Market Manager Keith Johnson will be retiring at the end of 2025. Community members who are looking for a way to get involved, here's a great opportunity to support a very worthy endeavor, which includes lots of interaction and engagement with fellow community members, and it also receives a $5,000 annual stipend. If you're interested in learning more about this position, please send an email to hampsteadfarmersmarket@gmail.com or use the Contact Us link on the website, hampsteadfarmersmarket.com. We look forward to seeing everyone at the festivities on the 22nd.
But if you want to do it out of the goodness of your heart, feel free.
But the money's good.
Wayne?
A lot of work. The Hampstead train station is closed for the season. We're already starting to book bands for next season's Music in the Park. Once again, the Hampstead train station's proud to sponsor the Hampstead Christmas Farmers Market. On the tree commission, we had a tree planting on November 2nd at War Memorial Park. We also replaced a tree at Panther Park and planted another crepe myrtle tree at Panther Park near the pavilion. And we'll be working on our spring planting at our next meetings coming up. That's it for me.
Deb?
Okay, the Planning and Zoning Commission met on Wednesday, October 23rd, 2024. There was a public hearing regarding the Wise Gas and Go at 721 Hanover Pike. The concept site plan is ready to go pending stormwater management approval. It is anticipated that the project will be completed in the summer of 2025. Cross your fingers. The PFAS treatment project concept site plans are also waiting on stormwater management. The first thing on the agenda for the commission was a sign approval for a new business called The Skill Tree, located at 1216 North Main Street. Both exterior and window signage was approved. The Skill Tree offers a range of social and practical skill building opportunities, particularly life skills for those that need additional assistance. The commission also certified that the 2024 fall amendment to the 2024 Carroll County Water and Sewer Master Plan, as it pertains to the town of Hampstead, is consistent with the Hampstead Community Comprehensive Plan. And finally, the Carroll County Department of Planning is still working on the housing study.
All right. Dave?
Okay, Panther Park, the construction started this week for the inclusive playground expansion. The new park is anticipated to be completed by the beginning of December, weather permitting. And we're asking that be mindful of the work area and use caution should you visit the playground area while under construction. Do not enter the fenced-off work areas due to safety precautions. And watch the town's Facebook, and Instagram pages for updates on the construction at the park progresses. Last week, along with the mayor, I know he'll talk about it a little bit, we attended the MML Board of Directors meeting down in Cambridge. And also last night, I attended was in the Main Street Partnership meeting. What we did last night is we did a debrief of the Fall Fest, which was a great event this year. I think we did very well with that. We had approximately 4,200 people attended, which was very nice. And we also looked at looking to several other festivals that we want to do throughout the year to complement the Hampstead Day and our next Fall Fest. One final thing, the gardens at Richards Family Cemetery. Right now we're working with some volunteers for some more mulching up there. We're also going to be removing the dead growth of the wildflower garden and planting that for next season. So that's it.
Thank you. And last but not least, Ben.
Okay, so for October, the water usage was 366,000 gallons per day, and November so far is 347,000 gallons per day, so a little below average, which is good because we didn't get a lot of rain in October, which was only 0.62 inches, and so far for November, only 0.37 inches, so it's not a lot of rain.
When did we get any rain in October?
At the very beginning.
Very beginning, yeah.
Okay.
We broke the record.
38 days ago.
Yeah, well, that's the longest dry spell to date on record that we just went through.
For us.
For us, yes.
Okay. Well. All right.
Interesting.
Dave, you're up.
sure if it's working or not. Well, good evening, everyone. During the month of October, with reference to traffic safety, we investigated 12 accidents. All 12 were minor, none were reportable. And we investigated 4 that were reported in the 42 circle. Speed signs were put at 4 locations for a total of 36 days of display. Traffic enforcement included 12 selective enforcements over a 4-hour period. During that activity, 3 citations and 2 warnings were written. Overall, traffic enforcement included 284 citations, 302 warnings. We conducted 514 property checks. With reference to reported crime, 1 assault, 1 domestic-related assault, 4 thefts, 2 frauds, 3 sex offenses, 2 indecent exposures, 2 drug incidents, 1 dumping complaint, and 3 DUIs. Arrests included 3 DUIs, 2 individuals for drug law violations, 1 individual for 2 indecent exposures, 1 dumping complaint, 1 sex offense, 1 domestic-related assault, and 1 theft. Traffic arrests included 3 suspended drivers, 7 unlicensed drivers, and 5 uninsured drivers. In the training department, we conducted 46 hours of training. Some of the topics included the Glock Armors course. Essentially what that is, one of our officers was sent to learn how to repair our various firearms. Tactical patrol considerations, people were recertified in first aid and CPR. We also conducted training on the lethality assessment program that was more of a refresher. That refers to a process that we use during domestic violence incidents to determine whether or not somebody is potentially at danger for further risk. We also had 2 officers go through LINKS Train the Trainer course. LINKS is essentially, right now I'm drawing a blank on the actual, what it stands for, the acronym, but it is a information sharing database so that we can essentially research information that has been put in other police record systems throughout the country. Now we have 2 guys that are able to train our people on how to use it. We also updated individuals with their NCIC certifications that they're required to renew. Community events included, we participated in the St. John's Westminster, over in Westminster, the Blue Mass that they have annually. It was mentioned earlier, the Fall Fest. We had a community crime meeting at the residence at Hampstead. Not that there's a particular problem in that facility, but this was more geared towards some of the residents there, topics like fraud, internet safety, basically how to protect yourself against scams. We also participated in the Hampstead Elementary Fun Run. In all fairness, Officer Blanton participated much more than anybody else did. We also participated in their semi-annual lockdown drill, where we were over there also for the 5th grade soccer event. We participated in the Little Free Pantry Fun Run event down at the Panther Park. We also participated in the Spring Garden Elementary Trunk or Treat. We decorated one of the police cars, and we handed out some candy with the rest of the folks over there. And we also had a Coffee with a Cop that was hosted by Rocco's down on Main Street. And that would be my report.
A quiet month. Questions for the chief? Thank you, Dave.
All right, thank you.
So my comments, I've got a few. Been a busy month. November's recognized as Municipal Government Works Month. So we have a proclamation that we usually read off related to municipal government, whereas Town of Hampstead was incorporated in 1888 and is home to, and Maryland is home to 156 other municipalities. I think that number has actually grown. Whereas municipal government represents the most responsive level of government, allowing citizens to have direct access to elected officials and appointed officials. And whereas in an effort to educate citizens about municipal government and the importance of their participation, the town of Hampstead is proud to promote municipal government awareness. And whereas municipalities have enhanced the quality of life for their respective residents, maintaining natural and historic sites and structures, and helping to make Maryland and Hampstead a great place to live, work, and explore. Now, therefore, I, Christopher Nevin, Mayor of the town of Hampstead, hereby proclaim the month of November to be Municipal Government Works Month. So municipal governments are supposed to highlight what we do, and this is one way to do it. So, a few comments. Dave mentioned the Maryland Municipal League Conference and our board meeting that we had there. This is our typical fall conference where the legislative initiatives and priorities are approved. We have two legislative priorities. One involves speed enforcement cameras. Speed enforcement cameras are, of course, prevalent throughout the state, not here in Carroll County yet. But there's some small municipalities who would like to have them on their main streets, and they don't have a police department, but it requires a trained police officer to certify the ticket. So what we're trying to have done is for those small departments, if they have trained personnel, they can issue the ticket. So we think that last year it got caught up in the wash of last minute and stuff in the legislative session, like 5 minutes gone, within 5 minutes of it ending. So this year, the chairman of that committee where it got hung up is the sponsor to the bill. So we think we're in pretty good shape. The other one is missions and amusement tax. All the towns are pretty much just reliant on primarily real estate property taxes as our funding source. And there's been a lot of conversation about how unaffordable it's becoming to own and, to A, buy a house and then B, own it with, rising property values and taxes. So mission and amusement is sort of discretionary expenses. You're going to a restaurant, whatnot, you're going to a bar, that would allow towns to impose up to a 3% tax or a fee on those expenses. So we have a few sponsors for that as well. It's enabling legislation. It's not something that we'd be required to do. So we'll see how that moves forward. Then there's a couple other initiatives which are more long term. One of which is highway user revenue. You've heard me mention often sitting up here. We're fully funded through the next few years. But back in the times in the tens, 95% of that money disappeared, and so there was no money to basically repave roads. And you're supposed to, when you fill up at the pump locally or your car's registered locally, some of that money's supposed to come back to us. So we're trying to keep an eye on that, make sure it's locked in. There's something called the Train Commission. Don't ask me what it stands for, but it's basically, electric cars, looking at vehicle registrations, which have already gone up and will continue to go up, and mass transit and how they fund all these different programs. So the towns just want to make sure that we continue to get our fair share of it. And the other piece of it is May and Shell counties as far as double taxation. We're a May County with Carroll County. They recognize that our citizens may pay double the tax, our property tax plus their tax. So they want to make sure that you don't get double tax without benefits, so they send some of the money back to us. You could argue whether it's enough or not, but there's a lot of counties, particularly on the Eastern Shore, that are May counties, and their county gives them nothing. So, that's an ongoing conversation between MACO, the county organization, and MML, but the legislators are starting to see that it's not fair. So that's a PR campaign that will continue. I was moderating a securing funding for water infrastructure, given we've had some success doing that. So they had a lot of panelists, MDE and CBD with community block development grants, and a few other folks sitting on a panel telling the respective towns who were in attendance how they might go about securing those funds. And then there was a presentation on the state budget, which will be an interesting conversation come January. There's a big hole related to Kerwin. Like $1 billion, and so they got to figure out how to fill that hole. Do they actually raise the money to fill it, or do they postpone some of the implementation of that program? We'll see how that goes. I don't think there's one faction that doesn't want to raise taxes. There's another that does. I think the governor may be in the more postpone the expense a few years because we can grow our way out of it, which I think would be a reasonable approach to take. So we'll see how that all goes. So there was a lot of conversation related about the upcoming legislative session. I serve on the legislative committee this year. I'm the chair. Last year, I think between the senators and the delegates, they introduced a lot of the bills are the same, but each chamber was over 1,000 bills. I think we reviewed 300 in the committee and took positions on about 50 overall. So plus or minus. Let's see. I think you mentioned Hampstead Fall Fest. Main Street Committee did a great job with that. I think it was an unmitigated success, and we couldn't have had better weather for it, so well done there. I attended also the Paul Di Lorenzo Golf Tournament. Who's a friend of Jim's and a town resident who passed away from pancreatic cancer, and that was up at Oakmont Green. That was very well attended as well. I attended the Little Free Pantry fun run, or walk in my case, with Chief. Very well done by Mackenzie Greenwood, and she's aging out and moving on to college next year. So there was another young family that was introduced that'll be taking over the responsibility next year, which will be great. It will continue on. And then I went to the Carroll County Hospital Auxiliary Ball over in Westminster. The hospital does a great job for Carroll County, and Hampstead included. You're going across 42. It's seldom you don't see the ambulance going one way or the other as you're en route. So that was another well-attended with several folks from Hampstead at that as well. I already mentioned the financial statements. We had a moment of silence for Bob Tracy, basically the founder of Ridge Engineering, and my understanding is they started out on Main Street in 1967. And you can see what they've done as far as the community and the next generation taking over. Not quite the Rushes, but eventually in about 100 years they'll get there. So that's my report. We don't have any unfinished business. And then new business, I just referenced it. So, we wanted to recognize the local business somewhere. There it is. And they're all here tonight, which is great to see. So come on up, gang. You gonna bring your wives too, since they're like integral to this? They can come up too.
Thank you.
I had known you were wearing ties. I didn't want to tie.
That's okay, Chris.
All right.
Makes me want to make a dentist appointment.
So 3 of these 4 guys have looked in my mouth. So, yeah, we got to get the cameras all squared away. All good. So we have a proclamation for Resch Family Dentistry. Whereas Resch Family Dentistry is an integral local health care provider operating from its Main Street location in Hampstead since 1925. And whereas Daniel Milton Resch opened a general medical practice on Main Street in Hampstead in 1893. So the town was, 5 years old. And whereas Resch Family Dentistry is a family business operated through the generations by the Resch family with a legacy of compassion and care for the community. And whereas Dr. Drew Resch has joined his father, Dr. Kevin Resch, and his uncles, Dr. Jim Resch and Dr. Eric Resch, as the newest member of the Resch Family Dentistry team. Whereas the Resch family has provided medical and dental care for over 100 years, spanning now 5 generations. And now, therefore, I, Christopher Nevin, Mayor of the Town of Hampstead, do hereby proclaim that today, November 12th, is Resch Family Dentistry Day in the town of Hampstead. Congratulations. Wait a minute, before you take pictures. Maybe this can appear in the office somewhere.
There you go.
So you got the town key, the Town of Hampstead Appreciation Award, percentage of Resch family in recognition and appreciation of many years of dedicated medical and dental service to the town of Hampstead. So there you go. Yeah. You know, I guess you got that one.
There you go. Next.
Everybody say teeth.
Show the pearly whites.
Good job. Thank you all so much. Thanks for coming out tonight. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for doing it. Thank you. We love this town.
Good.
Really need to make a dentist. Just reminded me.
You don't tell them they go home watch the game.
I'm sure, every small town has something, where there's been a family that's done something over generations, but how many years is that? Do the math for me real quick. 131 from 1893. Doing math on the fly, it's always a danger. So, but that's just, amazing. There's so many people, I go there, there's just so many people that you see at the dentist office, and I usually ask Kevin what's going on. He has a better idea than sometimes I do. So, next on the agenda is discussion and approval of the installation of a no parking sign on Hillock. And I think you have a 1-page briefing paper on this. Anybody with a picture? Does anybody have any questions as to what we're doing and why we're doing it? If you don't, I'll let you make a motion.
Make a motion that we approve this as stated.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right,
We can scratch the next item because the information that was not included in your packets. We can bring it back in December, no harm. Sure,
After
I
that
just realized when I sat down up here. So
after
I
that long
apologize.
conversation we had on Friday,
I understand.
karma.
Yes, karma.
All right, we'll bring it back in December. All right, so then next is ordinances and resolutions, which is the adoption of ordinance 554, which I talked briefly about at the public hearing, which is the ordinance concerning a general obligation bond for the water system centralization and modernization project. Basically, we're going to borrow up to $3 million for the front-end engineering and consulting costs related to the project, which then will move on to the funding and construction phase, which needs to be approved by the Board of Public Works at the state, which is mostly already funded with money sitting there from through the feds, through MDE, in the tune of 18.6 million and change. But this, we're going to do up front and front the cost of doing up front. It'll be a 20-year bond with a 50-year amortization period, because this is a really long-term improvement project. And I think the rate's 4.82 for all 20 years.
Motion to adopt ordinance 554.
Second.
Any discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. All right, and then apparently we have to the introduction as part of the bond offering that we have to do is Resolution 2024-05, a resolution concerning the general obligation bond for the water centralization and modernization of project.
Motion to introduce resolution 2024-05.
Second.
Any discussion of that? Basically goes into all the terms. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, moving on. And then, last one is ordinance 555, which is an ordinance for the purpose of updating procedures for voter registration and candidate participation in municipal elections. So Jim told me the last time we touched this was when you got elected the first time, Wayne, in 1993.
Yep.
So things have changed a little bit. And you can see the changes that we have here. I guess one of the biggest ones is that you can write a write-in vote, but they won't count. Primarily, if you're going to run for office, you should state you're going to run for office. You should register to run for office. You should state your positions. And, in this day and age, there shouldn't be last-minute viral campaigns, which nobody can answer to. There were a few other procedural changes here, but all needed to be updated to bring us in line with some of the latest standards that the state is
Absolutely. The
offering.
procedures, especially for voter registration, I mean, it used to be all U.S. mail and in person, where now it's a lot more online opportunities to register and things along those lines.
Make a motion to approve ordinance number 555.
Introduce.
Introduce.
Excuse me.
Yeah, we'll have a public hearing on that next month and then pass it.
Second. Anybody second?
Seconded by Deb. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? I think there's one town in Carroll County, Union Bridge, that if they don't have, which is becoming an issue, if they don't have people interested in running, 3 seats are up and only 3 people apply, there's no election. Save on some cost, but we'll see how that goes.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
It's un-American.
All right. What do we got? Last but not least, introduction of a charter amendment resolution 2024-06, which is a resolution for the purpose of updating Article 5. This is different from,
This is the one you were talking about, the mail-in ballot.
okay,
The write-in ballot.
Yeah,
okay. So it goes hand in hand with ordinance 555.
correct.
Okay. You need to amend the charter, which is a resolution for the purpose of updating Article 5, registration, nominations, elections, and Article 8, general provisions of the charter.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Question. I don't think we have to have it for introduction, but we need it for approval. It has to be a roll call.
Okay,
This is amending the charter.
yes,
Okay?
okay, thank you.
All those in favor of the introduction?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thanks. All right, that's business. Ran through it pretty quick. Any public comments? Such a quiet group. Most of you are, Doug, long time no talk.
Doug Harrell, Main Street, Hampstead. Is it true that Hans Meat Packing is not going to come to Hampstead?
It's unfortunately true.
Is there a reason why?
Nope, we have not been privy to that reason.
Can they get out of a contract that easy?
That company bought the land, and there is no contract with us to develop. So they can, apparently it's up for sale. So they can elect to not relocate. My understanding is there were grants and loans provided by the state and the county, and the time for them to be taken has passed. So it's just basically a free market sell at this time, and the owner made a decision to stay put.
What's the status on the Weiss gas station?
That will be summer of 2025. They're waiting on some approvals from the county, yes.
Stormwater management.
Stormwater management from the county. It was approved on our end.
What fun.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks for asking.
What else? Tractor Supply, we heard from them recently?
Tractor Supply is sitting there with everybody else. Basically, they're being hung up a little bit with stormwater management review. Everything else is good to go. It's just, that seems to be a sticking point these days.
That's to be located right side of the road on 30 above Greenmount Station.
Yes.
Am I missing anything?
One other item, for anyone who's been following the whole power line issue, tomorrow PSEG is holding information session at the Ag Center this time. It's a lot bigger space than the Senior Center, which was a pretty awful experience. But anyway, those information sessions are being held from 6 to 8:30 p.m. at the Ag Center tomorrow
Up in the Shipley building,
in the ship.
summertime. For those who aren't aware, for now, we've dodged it. It's still not, it is what it is. A lot of people are dealing with it, but the intended route is north, goes through Melrose, drops down around the airport in Westminster, goes around Westminster, drops down east of New Windsor, across 26 down into Frederick County. And we did talk to them, and the reason for choosing this route was it was more than 100 homes less impacted than any other. So it's primarily, you feel for the farmers, but it's primarily less impacted than any other. So it's primarily, you feel for the farmers, but it's primarily farmland that they're impacting.
They also said there was a huge outpouring of public comment from the Hampstead community that played into their decision. So, well done.
But that
doesn't mean we're immune in the future.
No, it does not.
there's going to be more power lines needed because of the decisions that the state has made. So, any other public comments? Everybody good up here? Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you all for coming. Rushes, thank you again.
Thanks a lot.